Hi, you festival addicts. This is Liz. I'm here today with Briana and Mitchell, who were our correspondents at EDM Drive-In. So, welcome to the production show of Festival Addicts. Thank you for coming on. How are you guys today?
Good. I'm doing
Good.
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 Can't
Mitch?
complain.
Well, I wanted to ask you about your experience at EDM Drive-In. So, why don't you lead us off, Brianna, and let us know, like, what was it like coming in and how you felt and what you thought about the drive-in?
So I think, just the whole EDM drive-in is such a cool concept. And I know it's kind of new for everybody. Driving in and being there and, having everybody be spaced out and wear masks. So it felt very safe for sure. Of course, getting to see some artists was definitely a plus.
Who are your favorite artists you got to see in the night?
No, I think I was actually kind of surprised because I'm more of a trance fan, so I thought I was going to, really enjoy Saturday night more, and I did enjoy it, in fact, but I actually had more fun on Friday night with Tritonal. I don't know what it was. He was just hitting it right, and it was definitely a lot of fun. I felt like I got to dance a little bit more, and that was maybe what I needed to kind of let out after being quarantined, I guess. So that was definitely a plus.
Awesome. Mitch, how about you? What was your thoughts on the whole EDM drive-in? Just initial thoughts going for it.
It was really good. It was like really well organized, and they made it kind of fun. Where when you drove in, they had you like drive through this like little kind of almost like a festival drive-in area, and they would hand you some really cool swag. Like I think you got some free Whataburger coupons, and they had like Topo Chico. So they had Red Bull and some like cool little light up sticks. So it was really cool. Like just entering into it, they received all the people that were attending really well, and then you pull up this cool little DJ area, which I think was all of the DJ contest winners, all the locals, and so they would play a set as you're rolling into the event, and
So
then
you got like
they. Sorry, go ahead.
so you got like extra music because you got like a local DJ rolling in. You got like a little
Yeah,
preview.
yeah. I was trying.
That
I was trying to figure that out because they had the contest. I was like, well, how's that gonna work? Because there's only one stage, and then I was like, oh, they got like another stage as you're walking in. Um, yeah. Sorry, one sec. Yeah.
What a cool
Sorry, one sec.
idea. I never even thought that you could have a like walking in and seeing that. And I know, Brianna, I had watched some of your Instagram on Blissful.Owl, how you could, like, your Instagram really showed, like, as you're sitting in the car, you're waiting, and then they're coming up and they're giving you your Red Bulls and giving you your waters and stuff like that. That was like I've never seen a festival where they're just like, "Here, have all this stuff."
Yeah.
Like, what was that experience like? Have you ever experienced that before?
No, and I think or um one of the like reasons kind of why they were doing the Red Bull because they were not actually sponsored by Red Bull. They actually went and just purchased a bunch of pallets of Red Bull. The festival itself did, and they were handing them out kind of as a I don't just
Thank you.
making people feel, yeah, kind of welcome there because I know
Mhm.
that, we have this scare going on right now. And I think that it kind of deterred some people. So they really wanted to kind of give back to the people that were attending and make them, feel like they wanted them to be there. And so getting the Red Bull and just having them come up to the car was definitely really fun and inviting, and it made you, feel like they really wanted you to be there. So that was really cool.
So we've got some people who are watching online. Pooja, who is not on tonight, but she says hi, and she wanted to know, like, how long was the line on getting in, and did they have any security search or anything like that?
That was actually the most probably surprising part was, I mean, we came in both days. It was like maybe 30 minutes, 45 minutes after the doors open. And I mean, it was pretty smooth. They just, had you roll up, you would stop, show them your tickets, they would scan them, and then you would just proceed on to grabbing all your swag. And then you would kind of stop momentarily, and they'd have you stop right by the DJ, and you'd take a photo behind this LED screen with a bunch of the performers, the onstage performers.
That's really cool. So you got to take a photo with like them.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know if those are getting posted somewhere, but I was kind of curious because like they didn't hand you like a little ticket stub or anything with your number. So hopefully those get posted because it seemed like there was a lot of cool cars and costumes and stuff. That everyone got a photo with the performers.
That is really awesome. So you got in there and you got parked, and did they give you any face masks, or what was the face mask requirements for Texas at that point in time, which was this past weekend?
I don't remember them giving us any, but I think on the website they had said that they would have them available if you needed one. But you definitely had to have one if you were gonna get out and like go use the restrooms or like hang out around your car to watch.
Yeah, I feel like we might have maybe missed that a little bit just because we got to come in and experience the first part of entering, but then at one point we had to kind of veer off to go park in the staff parking because we actually didn't have a car pass. We just parked in staff, which made it a lot easier for us to walk around and get photos and content, but they might have been passing out masks because like Mitch said, I do remember them saying something online about they were going to offer some. But yeah, we might have just missed that part. So.
Yeah. So I know, like, I saw that you guys really walked around, and because we were covering the show, most everyone else was expected to stay in their car area, and like only leave if you had to use the restroom. With this particular event, you didn't have food options, except for you had one thing that did come around. What was that?
So it was the iced tea and Italian
Uh,
rice.
yeah,
Snow
that shaved
cones?
ice or town ice.
Italian
They,
rice.
and they had a little truck that came around.
Yeah, they did come around each row and they would just kind of shout out and ask people if they wanted anything. And even the people that did go up to order, they seemed like, they were staying kind of the 6 feet apart from each other. So it seemed like it was safe.
Oh, that's good. So people pretty much for the most part stayed in their area, or did they have like groups of people that did group up, or what did you observe from that?
I
Anything?
mean, it seemed like everyone kind of stuck to their cars. There were some of the VIP area had like big vans or like trucks and stuff, but it seemed like those people like all like came together because like
Yeah.
we were at the very back at one point, just kind of taking a breather and not standing next to the car. And we got asked several times, like, oh, like where's your guys' car? We're like, oh, okay, we're media, we're just taking some photos and just chilling. And like, oh, okay. So I mean, they were pretty good about having people walk around and make sure, if you were on your way to go to the bathroom or back to your car, not just congregating in the middle of the fire lane or they had also staggered the cars. So they weren't actually all side by side. There'd be one car like in front and then one behind, like kind of staggered. And then the next one would be like one car spot over.
Okay. Good. So you had space for everyone.
Yeah, there's surprisingly a lot of amount of space.
Okay. So you were in the front and you were in the back. How was the sound? What did they have for this setup? Like, did they have speakers? Did you have to have your own speakers? What was that like?
So from what we kind of experienced being in the front, they definitely had sound up in the front. It wasn't too loud, but it was still loud enough. But then as soon as you got to the middle, you couldn't really hear the sound from the front anymore. And then when you were in the back, you basically could not hear the sound from the front. It just had to be coming out of your car speakers. So
Okay. All right. Cool. Mitch, what did you feel about that? Like, what are your thoughts?
Yeah,
Is that
about the same. I mean, they told you on the website, you know, you had to have a working FM radio. So, I mean, it's kind of a mix of how close you were to the stage versus, you know, if you used your car speakers or not.
okay? Great. So restrooms. Restrooms is always something that's a big deal at all festivals. And especially this was a pretty decent amount of time, right? That you guys were there. Um, what what were your like restroom experiences and what did you see like with lines and people like that? Brianna, what did you feel about restrooms? Because I know as a woman,
yeah.
it's definitely
Right.
something that you deal with quite a bit.
Yeah, which I think is kind of funny because on their Instagram, they had actually said, and I believe it was on their website as well, they had said that they were providing restrooms, but that they felt better if you didn't use them as often. Um, but you know, people are going to have to go, especially when you have a festival like this where you can bring your own ice chest with literally any kind of drinks. You're going to have to go to the bathroom. So I feel like they did a really good job. They spaced the restrooms out, and they were even more than 6 feet apart. I mean, they were probably 12 feet apart. They had plenty of them. A lot of them were also uh, what were they? They were the bigger restrooms.
Yeah,
So
they had like a lot of the handicap, like the
yeah,
big ones.
so you had more, room in there. Um,
Yes, you
but
had space.
there were attendants standing outside of the restrooms, and they would kind of make sure that you would stand back from the bathroom, and that if there was a line, that people weren't standing next to each other. The attendants also had like Germex, and then they were also wiping the handles of the bathrooms after every single person came in and out. And then they also had those stations where you can wash your hands, far and few in between, and they run out of water, I've noticed. But so the attendants having the Germex was definitely a plus.
Awesome. How about from your perspective, Mitch? How do you feel about the restrooms?
I mean, they were pretty good. I mean, they seemed like, I mean, it wasn't, you know, like a full-fledged festival with, you know, tens of thousands of people. So I feel like, you know, proportionally there was a decent amount of restrooms. You know, I don't think we ever really had to wait. You know, you just look, see if it was full, you know, someone was in there and just hop down like one or two, and it never really was any lines or anything. So I think from a restroom standpoint, it was pretty nice. Obviously, it's a smaller event, but you know, I appreciated them already having, you know, hand sanitizer there. You know, he made sure you had some, or if you
Mhm.
needed more toilet paper, you know, it seemed like they were pretty receptive to trying to make sure the restrooms were pretty well maintained.
That's fantastic. I know you guys got some great shots and videos of and photos of what had happened. They're showing on the Facebook page, like all the videos that you had shot for your Instagram, Bree. So, what was like your favorite part of the festival? What did you enjoy about this new type of drive-in rave where you're still getting to experience a live event?
um, I really enjoyed everything being kind of spaced out because I guess I consider myself to kind of be like an older raver, I guess. And so I am not one to get up in that crowd and be in the front and be, shoulder to shoulder with people that I
We
don't.
like our space now. Yeah.
So
Like to
I'm
hang
all,
out, everyone, but we want our space.
yeah, I've always been all about the space. So, having the space and then even getting up to the front and being, all the way up in the front, if you were in the VIP and you had one of the cars in the very front, you were able to basically get all the way up to the fence at the front and be, super close to the DJ when that is such a hard spot to get to at a regular festival. So definitely the space was a plus. And um, I mean, for us, kind of having the media passes, I thought was really nice, being as we got to like walk around. And so we still kind of got the feel of the festival by getting to meet other people. And I know that, other attendees maybe didn't get to kind of experience that as much because they didn't really get to walk around. That's kind of a different feeling that I have that not everybody else would probably get to experience. But you could probably go to the bathroom and sneak around on your row on the way back or something and talk to people. Um, but yeah, definitely the space was a big thing for me. I had a great time with the space.
That's fantastic. Mitch, what was your favorite part of the festival? What did you enjoy?
Honestly, what kind of gave me like the festival like experience, which I haven't really seen at any of the other drive-in events, just from what I've seen. I mean, mind you, this is watching other people's stories on Snap or Instagram, but the EDM Drive-In in San Antonio actually had live performers. They had people on stilts and costumes. They had these really amazing fire performers. Like this one girl had a fire dragon staff, and she was literally bouncing it on top of her head.
Oh my gosh.
Um, Now, the only thing with that was that I think only the still performers were the ones that were walking around and kind of going back and forth through the rows of the cars. Obviously, with fire, you're probably a little bit more logistical problem with walking around with fire, but it might have been kind of a slight thing to improve on, was just maybe like putting the stage up higher so that way you could see it a little bit better, because it was kind of, I don't know, I'd say it's about eye level for me. It wasn't up super high, so you couldn't really see the fire performers or the LED performers from very far away if you weren't, probably halfway or a third of the way up to the front. But I personally liked all the performers because it kind of gave you that festival experience versus just like going to a regular show at the club where you just have a DJ and maybe some production.
That's fantastic. I mean, knowing that now you have a good idea of what to kind of expect from a drive-in event. I know, Mitch, this was your second drive-in event you had been to. How did you feel about this compared to the one you went? Like, Mitch was able to go to a drive-in event in Houston the week before. What were your thoughts on that, like comparing them?
Yeah, so I went to one the week before in Houston. This one was actually so actually kind of a difference between this one and some of the other ones is the one I went to in Houston, which was the Disco Donnie one, no parking on the dance floor. Theirs was actually in a theater, so the whole kind of the theater drive-in, what a lot of people have done recently, whereas the EDM Drive-In for San Antonio actually was in a parking lot. And what I thought was kind of interesting was that the movie theater ones kind of have a little bit of an advantage because they have the big movie screen in the back, and they actually were able to duplicate the visuals from the stage on the actual theater screen. So I thought that was like maybe just one minor difference that I kind of liked about the other one, was that the drive-in events you can kind of make it a little bit more easier for people to view. You don't have like a front row spot, or another thing too is like a lot of them get filled in based off of when you arrive. So if you're in the GA section, they have different sections. You might get the front row GA if you're one of the first cars that get in line to get into the festival or drive-in event.
So it's definitely one of those, like, you have to kind of look at how it's going to be put together to decide where you want to buy your ticket, right?
Yeah, and I mean, we definitely were, we were able to walk around, and it was really cool. Like their VIP experience was really cool. They had I think they were like a bunch of cars. They were like Jeeps and trucks, all facing backwards, with truck beds so that people could party in the truck beds. And I believe they were from a local car dealership. So again, they kind of were, hitting it hard with like doing a bunch of sponsorship stuff. And so from the VIP stuff, I think they already had the cars there, and then you would just show up. I can't remember if they drove you there or not, but you basically showed up and they already had a vehicle there, and then you just partied in the back of these pickup trucks, and they're parked right at the very very front.
Oh wow, that's kind of cool. So it's like super VIP when you did something
Yeah,
like.
like it was. I would say like there's some really cool stuff that these drive events could do with the VIP stuff to if you want to place an emphasis on how close you want to see. Maybe you're older, you don't have good eyesight, you want to pay a little bit more money, and you can actually see the DJs on stage. But with that though, they actually did a really good job. They had a couple of screens staggered, back in the middle section. So even if you couldn't see, what was going on stage, they were live streaming the whole thing, and they put it up on the screens.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, they kind of did a makeshift screen, since they didn't have like a big theater screen like the drive-in theaters do. So I mean,
Mhm.
I think they did a pretty good job working with what they.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I really liked how they um kind of organized it at the EDM Drive-In because, like Mitch was saying, they had it to where they had three different sections, and you would park based on what section you bought from. And so, the super VIP was in the very front, like Mitch was talking about with the cars. And then they had the VIP section, like the premium section, and then the GA section. And so I kind of like that just because I feel like if you do it that way, then you're kind of guaranteed a little bit more on where you're going to be able to park your car rather than, just buying a ticket and then having to, get there ahead of time to get a good spot. I mean, because, how do you know when is a good time to get there? Are people waiting an hour before it starts? Are they waiting 2 hours
Right.
before? So, I really like the way that they kind of organize that. So you kind of knew, okay, if I buy, GA, I know I'm going to be at the back because that's what the map showed. But if I buy premium, and I think premium was only maybe $10 or $15 more than GA, but then you're going to be closer. So like I was going to buy premium when I was going to buy tickets to go to the EDM Drive-In.
That's fantastic. That's really good information. How long was the wait to get in? And then how long was the wait to get out of there? What was traffic like?
Yeah, surprisingly, the wait to get out, it wasn't that bad. Mind you, I mean, we were parked in a staff, so we kind of got to pull in where the VIP was. But I mean, from the way it looks like it was pretty well organized. They just I think they had two ways out. They had one north kind of passing by the front, and then they had another one that was going towards the rear where you pulled in from. So they all fed off a one made road off to the side.
Yeah. Coming in was really easy too, and there were definitely enough people at the front to kind of guide you and tell you where to go. And then when you got or before you got to the spot at the front where they had the little DJ and where they took the picture, they would put a piece of paper that was a certain color in your windshield, and then that told the next attendant which section to put you in. So whether you would go in GA or you would go in premium, and all they had to do was just look at the color that they would put in your windshield, and then the attendants knew where to park you. So that part felt very organized.
That is amazing. It sounds like it was one of the most organized events that I think I have ever heard of.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
that
Yeah,
definitely.
it
sounds
was. I
great.
mean, for it being the very first event for that, for San Antonio of that style, like I was pretty well impressed with just the overall organization, and it seemed like everything flowed. Everyone had a pretty good idea of where to send you. If you had any questions. So I was really impressed with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
That's
all
fantastic.
sounds really good. So I'll just chime in a bit with some questions. Pooja and Bernard are in the comments, and they want to know, number one, how was the trash situation like? Did they have like disposal bins? And they also want to know if there was a med tent. Either of you can answer.
As far as trash bins, I think that they didn't really seem to have enough because I remember Mitch and I were kind of talking about that because with us walking around, we just kind of noticed that there weren't really very many. And I think it's because they just kind of assumed that people would just throw their trash maybe back into their car. So there were trash cans at the very front, but I don't really know that I remember seeing. There were definitely not any in the middle. I think there were a couple on the side, but there were not very many trash cans. And as far as a med tent, I do not remember seeing one at all. I don't know about you,
I think
Mitch.
I saw one on the map. I feel like it was maybe it was by staff parking or something.
Yeah, I
Maybe
don't
like
remember seeing one specifically. At least maybe they had medical people there, but I don't remember actually seeing like a station you could walk up to, if you needed like a band-aid or something like that.
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, before I check in. Okay.
A very tiny little tent.
Yeah. Okay.
So these type of events, do you feel, Pooja's asking, do you feel these type of events should continue or will continue to happen in San Antonio or even, I know you guys, so in Texas, it's like Dallas, Austin, Houston, it's the big triangle. Do you feel these type of events will happen? Do you feel that's a good location? Do you think other areas of Texas they'll still have these? And what about like beyond? What are your thoughts? Brianna, start with you.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I can kind of chime in about San Antonio just because I'm originally from San Antonio, so I was born and raised, lived there for 18 years. And I'm gonna be honest, the EDM community is not very big in San Antonio. So I was actually kind of surprised to see that they were going to have an event like this in San Antonio. I feel like the it was not, they didn't sell out on the first night. It even didn't really feel as full as they said it was, and that could have also been because people maybe didn't come because maybe they didn't feel safe anymore about coming, because I know they had said something about Friday was 80% sold out, but it just didn't really feel that full. I think as far as continuing EDM, kind of drive-ins, I mean, I'm all for it. I think that there would be some better locations. I think they would honestly have better luck if they did go farther north, more towards Austin. Because living in Austin now, I definitely know that there is enough people here in Austin, who are into the EDM scene and are definitely looking for that kind of festival. I know that there's a drive-in in New Braunfels. I feel like that might even be a good location because it is kind of in between San Antonio and Austin. But I'm definitely looking forward to the next one because I had a lot of fun.
Mitch, what do you think? Do you think these should continue? Are there good places for them? What are your
Yeah, I mean,
thoughts?
I honestly think that like it's a good event that kind of makes that works with the current situation. Even and actually, I was surprised that the event saw happen because the governor had issued an executive order closing down a lot of like bars and restaurants, and I think even one of the big things on it was gatherings of more than like 100 people. But
And
it
that
seemed like
was
they had
like,
worked a lot with the city, and they
yeah.
had a lot of stuff already in place working with the fire department stuff because we actually had fireworks at ours at the end of every night. So even with an executive order on some coronavirus restrictions, they were still able to put on the event. And I felt pretty safe going to that compared to going to the grocery store, we were standing next to a bunch of people touching stuff.
That's so definitely a very safe event.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, honestly, for the first year, I think they knocked it out for the most part, other than like some small things maybe on like the stage height or something like that. I think overall on the like especially on the safety standpoint, like I felt, really safe.
That sounds fantastic. So last question as far as the event. Would you attend another event like this again? And how soon do you want to go if you do? Mitch, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I mean, if depending on the lineup, and then like Bree was saying, maybe if it was in Austin or somewhere where you might have a little bit of a bigger EDM community, I'd be down to go, once a month or however often they try to do these, and I mean, another thing too is gonna be pricing standpoint. I've seen some other events in other states, and some of the closed parking and the VIP options, they can get really expensive. So I think they're going to have to proportionally tone it to where the lineup matches the cost, and maybe they have to vary the cost show by show depending on what artists want to play, because you still got to pay your artists. They had a lot of fireworks and dancers, so especially this one, they probably had a lot of other ancillary costs that some of the other shows might not have. So I think if they could figure out like location combined with like good pricing and options, for how close you want to view it, I think it'd be really successful.
Cool. And how were the fireworks?
They're actually really good. They were for like a solid like what 3 or 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bree, what are your thoughts on, will you do these events? How often do you want to go?
I mean, I'm definitely going to the next one, so I can't wait to go. And
I
honestly,
want to go with you.
I mean, as much as I loved, going around and getting the content and really just kind of getting to experience the whole festival for festival addicts, I'm actually kind of excited to go just as an attendee and bring my car and just kind of put the hood up and put my chairs out and get my glow stuff going and really just kind of stay in my spot. And because I was almost kind of envious of the people as we were walking by who got to just, kind of sit and chill. And I mean, some people didn't even leave their car. They just had blankets and everything and lights, and they were literally just laying in their car, just,
Oh
soaking
yeah.
it up. So yeah,
They decorated the trucks.
yeah, a lot of people decorated their cars, and that was fun kind of seeing that. And so yeah, I can't wait to do that and just kind of chill and have my little space and have my room like I like. And
That sounds fantastic. And you felt like price wise, both of you, for the tickets that they had for this event, did you feel like it was worth the money that people would pay for each of the areas?
yeah, I mean, I didn't think it was that bad because when I was looking at the tickets to get premium, which was in the middle, it was $75 a person for the night. And I feel like, to see some of the people that they had on the lineup, like Tritonal, and $75, I'll pay that easily. So
Oh yeah. And Mitch, you price wise?
Yeah, I thought it was fair, especially for the lineup. First night, I mean, they had some pretty big artists like Hook and Sling, Tritonal, and then the second night was they had what Christina Sky, and then also Cosmic Gate, and then I think Henry Fong played also on the first night.
That's fantastic. Well, thank you guys for giving us a very well-rounded idea of what EDM Drive-In is. And I really hope, it sounds like the production of it all was really well put together. I really hope that they continue this and take this throughout Texas and beyond up to Connecticut would be really nice. I'd love to see something up here for sure. So, just to before we close out the show tonight, and again, thank you, Brianna and Mitch. You can find us all around. We've got our Instagram names around our boxes here. But I did want to bring up one last thing because we know it is Independence Weekend coming up. So if people at home are looking for something to do, for the Spring Awakening is having their virtual Spring Awakening. Some really amazing artists coming up. You've got Bear Grylls, Destructo, who is one of our favorite people, Claude Von Stroke, Justin J, Shiba-san, a little bit of everyone coming up. So please make sure to check that out this weekend. Saturday, July 4th, and fireworks, if you're doing those, please be very, very safe. Have a bucket of water. Don't blow off any fingers, please. We want to make sure all of our festival addicts stay healthy and don't hurt themselves. And then also on Sunday, July 5th. So when we close out, I will throw it to someone with my Instagram name, and then they throw it to someone else, and then they throw it back. So I will start with Bree. What is your Instagram? And then you can throw it to Mitch.
My Instagram is Blissful.Owl. Mitch?
My Instagram is funky.monkey_.
Cool.
And you, Liz?
So my Instagram is lizzie.may. So thank you all, Festival Addicts, for tuning in tonight, and we will see you next week again. Bye.
Bye, thanks.
Thank you.